Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to the Romeo George's The Crasher show. I hope today you really enjoy the show. I'm going to introduce a bloke who I watched a few of his movies, and I'm really humbled and honoured that he's accepted to be interviewed by me today. George Basha.
How you doing, mate?
Good, mate.
Good?
Yep. George grew up in the West. We are currently out here in the West in Guildford. Right, all you ethnics out there know the area very well. Back in the 90s, George, his passion was to be an actor and in movies, and he realised that he's entering an industry that basically wasn't designed for him, but that did not deter him, nor did it stop him. A lot of you WOG boys and WOG girls could relate to that, the ability to fight through. So George took it on, and I'm going to dig deeper into who is George Basha, and what made him do what he did and make these, so the movies that I know of, 3 great movies, and we're going to talk to him in detail. Thank you, George. I'm humbled by this.
Thank you.
Tell me, what makes a Lebanese boy want to stand up and have a go?
Look, I think I grew up in a big family. So I grew up, we're 7 kids, very competitive, from a big sports family. We were very, very competitive. My old man was a film buff, so I remember he used to always sit me down. I remember the first movie I ever watched with him was First Blood. So I'm a big Stallone fan because of that. It was the first one I ever watched with him. I used to watch all the great films, Magnificent Seven. Yep. Then that kind of drew me into the acting and film business. That's what I wanted to be. Yeah. I was really a good sportsman. I was really good at cricket. I could have played professionally. Could have played professional soccer, but my brother played professional soccer, so I chose the film industry, not knowing that in the 90s, especially when I went out, it was very, very white. Yeah. And plus, look, I was hanging around with some bad kids too back in the day, so I kind of wanted to go my own way. And I think the problem is when you hang around with guys and you just stop seeing them for no reason, they could turn on you. Yeah. So I thought, what?
Loyalty is massive in our culture.
Look, 100%. And I love my mates, all of them. But I just thought I didn't want to end up in jail or anything like that. I thought something happened with one of my friends. I really don't want to go into it too much, but it was pretty horrific. So that kind of had me thinking. One night, I was in bed, and honestly, I don't cry. It's very hard for me to cry. It's probably one of the few times I've cried. And then I remember the next morning I woke up, and my getaway was always music, R&B. I used to put them in, hit a bag, boxing bag, and that was my frustrations. But that day I just kept writing on this pad, and all I kept writing was Rocky Stallone. Next morning I got up, I said, I've always wanted to be an actor. And coming from a WOC family, my dad didn't let me get into the game early. You have to have a trade. That was the thing. You have to have a trade and you can do what the hell you want. So I did. I went out and I'm a panel beater by trade. Because not many people know that. Yeah. So I did the 4 years of panel beating, and then I got into the, and then the thing that happened we were talking about with my friend was just after I'd finished my trade. And next morning, looked at the pad. I thought, I'm going to have a real crack at this. So I went and enrolled into a acting school on the Broadway. And started doing acting. And to be honest with you, my biggest passion wasn't acting, it was stunts. I wanted to be a stuntman. Okay. But I got talked out of that by a guy called Grant Page. He's the guy that did all the Mad Max stunts. I bumped into him and he told me, look, in this country, forget it. They don't make much action films and you're not going to get much work. And he goes, I get all the work here. But I'm being honest, so you've got to go to the US if you want to do that. So I thought, I'll just do acting, and I did it, and I didn't think much of it because I was like, I loved it, but I didn't love it because when you're doing the acting side of things in school, it's kind of didn't quite catch me like that's what I want to do. Not until I remember we had to do this big play, and that was the end of the acting school. You had to do this play, and I did this play, and I remember this agent called Bonnie walked up to me and she liked my performance and she said to me, have you got representation? And I said, what's that? I had no idea. Now this is the guy coming from Guildford You know, my parents did it really tough. We didn't have a lot of money. So, you know, I'm going into a whole different world, not knowing how the world works, especially in that game. And the first thing I said, "Oh, so what's that?" She says, "Oh, I'll try to get you work as an actor." I said, "Okay, fair enough." I said, "Do I have to pay anything?" It's the first thing I said to her. She said, no, we have to try to get you work. We get you the money. I said, "Okay." So I signed on to that, and honestly, I think 6 months later, I get this audition for a film called Blackrock.
Yep.
It was the biggest Australian film at the time, and I had no idea what a feature film meant. You know, so I went and did this audition. I remember I used to have long hair, and you know, being a wog, I was hairy at 15, mate. So I had a beard at 16.
Yeah.
So had this beard, and you know, I read the script. I knew the lines, but I didn't read all the action stuff because I had no idea. You know, that I was 24, I'm going in for a 16-year-old role. Yeah. So I go into this fucking goatee. I get there, I'm performing with this actor, and you know, he pushes me. And I've been from Western Sydney. Now we're acting, this is performing. I took it personally, so I've grabbed this guy. And I want to hit him for real. I wasn't acting no more. Like, who the hell are you pushing, mate? And the doctor's going, George. No, we're just acting. He's just acting. You know, he's trying to get performance out of you, right? And I'm there about to kill this guy. Anyway, so I've walked out, I've blown this. Next day I got a phone call, you know, there was no mobiles back then. In the panel shop, I got a phone call. My agent calls me at work. She goes, "Did you grab an actor and want to hit him?" I said, "Yeah, he pushed me." "What did he push me for?" She goes, "George, it's performance, mate. They're trying to push your buttons to get a performance out of you." She goes, "Did you go in with a beard?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "You know you went in for a 16-year-old role. Why didn't you shave?" I said, "Oh, it's a 16-year-old, I don't know."
I did shave by the time I got there. We grew back again.
So anyway, she goes, "The director wants to see you again, but he wants you to shave." I said, "What?" She said, "Yeah." Went in, did it. This time I didn't try and hit anyone. Went in, shaved, and mate, I got the role. And you know, next thing I know, I'm hanging out with Heath Ledger, David Field, you know, all these great actors on this film. You know, Rebecca Smart. And
so you thought you made it?
Well, I didn't think I made it. I think I got my foot in the door to at least be given some kind of respect to get auditions.
Okay.
To be able to, you know, yep, he's done something big. There's roles out there. Let's have a look at him. So when the film was all done and dusted, I loved it. And I knew that acting was what I wanted to do. I knew, okay, this is amazing. Like, seeing a script come to life. And, you know, I thought, and me as an actor trying to bring that character to life, I thought, this is what I want to do now. So I was really close at the time with Heath Ledger and a guy called Brendan Donahue and a couple of other boys, Jade Gatt. And they were getting, after we finished, they were getting a lot of auditions. And I'll speak to, "Oh yeah, I'm going in for this audition, I'm going in for this audition." And I was getting nothing. I was getting Australia's Most Wanted reenactments. So all that kind of stuff that I didn't want to represent my people in.
Yeah.
Because, mate, you know, at that time, it was like, if you're ethnic, you're a criminal. You only can play a drug dealer, a killer, or a junkie, or anything like that. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. That's not why I want to get in the business. You know? Especially if someone, I looked up to Sylvester Stallone. He was my, like, hero. Yeah. You know, so I wanted to be Stallone. So, anyway, I confronted my agent, and I said to her, "Look, what's going on here? Why can't I get into the room?" You know, I said, "Heath gets in, you know, these guys all get in, I can't get in." And she kind of kept dodging me, not giving me a direct answer, until one day I kind of said, "Look, I want to know the truth." You know, and she was a great woman, you know. She turned around and said to me, "I'm going to be honest with you, George." She goes, "You're ethnic." She goes, "And they don't write anything for you guys." They were the exact words, "for you guys." So I kind of felt disrespected, not by her, by the whole industry. Calling us guys. No, I'm a human, mate, not you guys. So I remember I said to her at the time, I want you to terminate my contract. And back then we used to do a 24-month contract. Yep. I said, I no longer want to be an actor. Because I knew she's probably tried and she wasn't going to get me anywhere. I knew from that meeting at the time. She finally, she gave me a hard time and she finally agreed to let me go. And I remember when I went in and signed off and they terminated, as I was walking out, I turned back and I looked at her and I said to her, remember my name. She says, what do you mean? I said, the industry's going to know who I am, but on my terms.
Did she want to let you go because she saw the talent in you, or she didn't want to let you go because you were just another client?
Look, she saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. She saw I had something. And it was the same when I got Blackrock. I remember the director, Steve Vidler, said to me, there's something about you. Don't know what it is, but there's something about you. So I don't think when I went for the audition, I don't think I was great, but he must have seen something about me that I didn't see, not until I started to really explore myself as a performer. But and I loved Bonnie, but I knew that I had to go out on my own. I knew I had to go out and I had to do something that's really going to put me on the map and put my people on the map.
This is probably going to go off topic a bit, but I told you when we first met that I love your movies because they're earthy, and you said to me, I've never heard that, that expression, and I explained to you why. It's that they're real, they relate to us. How come, why is our industry designed to accommodate the Americans, and we're so eager to run to the movies to watch an American-made movie in Australia? It's made here in Australia, yet George makes a movie about what it's like growing up in the west of Sydney, and it's real, yet we don't line up. Is that an Aussie mentality, tall poppy syndrome? Is that do you feel as though the biggest factor is a lot of people I don't want to support, I'll support George until he gets so far, and then after that, no, I don't want to.
I think there's a couple of answers to that. One, I think that our country, our people, don't support, not just me, all Australians like they should.
Yeah.
Okay? When I make a film, I'm going to use The Combination Redemption because that was my latest film I released in theatres, right, in 2018. We released, I think, at about 52 screens around the country. It's a huge release.
Yeah.
We send out posters, trailers to all the exhibitors. So exhibitors is your Hoyts and all those guys, right? Now I remember I had to fly out to Melbourne for a premiere of the film. The cinemas knew we were coming. We rock up and there was not one poster of my film up in the cinemas. They had Liam Neeson, whose film was going to be released, I think, 2 weeks after mine. So there's no support there, right? You go to the industry here, the industry isn't huge, but there's all this talk about they want the next filmmaker to come out. They want to help this next filmmaker, but it's all talk. I've made 4 films. There's the 4 films which I'll make that will be coming out hopefully later this year. And I've had no support. My films have all been supported by independent investors. Some friends, family who come in and put money to help me make films. Last film I did, I needed money to complete it. I went and tried to get money. I got knocked back. Now I don't know if it's an issue with me or they don't like my films, but then when you want to go in to promote your film, you ring up your free-to-air channels, and you want to try to get on there. You want 20 seconds, look, 10 seconds. Just to get on there, say hi, I've got a new film coming out, and mind you, they're Australian channels. Mm-hmm. They say no to you. But they'll talk about a dog that's stuck in a tree. The fireman's helped this dog come out of the tree, or a washed up US actor will come out who did films that were hits in the bloody 70s and 80s. They put them straight on there. But what about your own people? What about helping your own people? Get your own product out there. If I make a film, it's for Australia, all Australia. Yeah. It's an Australian product.
Same with radio stations?
Radio stations I find a bit better.
Yeah.
You find a bit more support. And the biggest thing for me is when I don't think the Australian industry gives me enough respect as an Australian filmmaker.
Yeah.
And I say this because I'll tell you why I say this. One, I think when I made the combination, I'm a proud Australian, all right?
Yeah.
Proud of being Lebanese background, but also a very proud Australian. Born here, I love this country, it's my own country.
Yeah.
So when I made the combination, we used all Australian actors. My crew were Australian, all from Australia, okay? Yep, it was a diverse crew, but they're Australian. Now, when the film came out, a lot of the media were there calling it Lebanese Australian film. It's an Australian film.
Yeah.
It's not, do they call the Wog Boy a Greek Australian film? No. So why call the combination a Lebanese Australian film? And then when it comes out, I wrote the film. The film's a love story. So the film's about family, which is love, and it's about me, John's character with Sydney, who's a white girl, and they have a great love story in the film, right? Yeah, there's other little elements of streets and racism and all that, you know. Then they come out, and all they talk about in the media is about the criminal element of a film. They go after my actors. Oh, he's got a criminal record. He's done this. He's done that, right? Yeah. And the film, mind you, when it came out, he got standing ovations. Like, you know, the movie show gave it 4.5 out of 5. You know, it was film-wise, it was getting great critique all around the country. But then the media, all they wanted to talk about was my past. They never spoke to me ever about how I wrote this film or the talent in the film. We had guys like Firas Durrani. We had Claire Bowen. Claire Bowen that was her first ever gig.
Yeah.
She actually went on. She's a huge star in the US now. She's a country singer.
Yeah.
Never spoke to us about that. You know, all they kept talking about was the bad elements of the film, and then calling it Lebanese was actually offensive to me. You know, I'm an Australian first and foremost, and then they call it a Lebanese Australian film. So anyway, I took that on the chin, and then they pull it from the cinema. We were the #1 film in Australia. So when we released the combination, the opening weekend, we were smashing it. Like, not just doing well, we were smashing it. Okay, we were the #1 film in the country. We got compared to Batman Begins in its opening weekend, like as in grossing tickets, comparing the cinemas and all that, right? Which was huge. So I get a phone call for the distribution. I think it was on a Sunday. Not exactly sure what day it was, and they said to me, "Congratulations, we're the #1 film in the country."
Wow.
Independent film, right?
Yeah.
Not backed by any government. Independent film. And I was right over the moon. I said, you know. And then at night, I get a film saying that Greater Union is going to pull the combination from all the cinemas around the country.
And what was that based on?
Based on apparently the film in Parramatta, there was a fight inside the cinema.
What's that got to do with the film?
That's $1 million question, right?
I mean, Rocky Balboa. Do
So-
you hear the joke? An Italian bloke and an African American bloke watched Rocky Balboa,
Yeah.
and like Rocky, the first one,
Yeah.
and they came out. And the Italian thinks he can knock out the African American bloke. He goes, "That's a movie. Out here, I kick your ass."
Yeah.
And the African American built the crap out of the Italian dude. He goes, so my point being, what's that got to do with the movie?
Well, that's when we went in and had the meeting. That's exactly what I said to him, man. And my point to him at the time was, your job is to show if you're showing a movie and the movie's doing great, then it's your job to protect the patrons. And the fight ended up being, I did my own investigation. I knew a police officer in Parramatta. Not going to say his name.
Yeah.
Made a call, had a chat with him, and it had nothing to do with the film. It was about a guy in the cinema that was smoking, and the security guy told him to take the cigarettes off, turn it off. He didn't. Got into a bit of a push and shove, and that was what happened. Now, I believe they couldn't handle the fact that there were so many bloody ethnics going to the cinema at that time, especially Lebanese. That's my take. 'Cause I can't think of anything else.
You've got a Hoyts or whoever cinema you've got in the middle of Parramatta. Who else is going to go watch the movie? You're going to get people from Double Bay going all the way to Parramatta. It doesn't.
And for me too,
It's a bullshit excuse.
If this was a Hugh Jackman, Nicole Kidman, Russell Crowe film, would they pull it if that happened? No. You know? But then, you know, they pulled it out, killed the film, then they decided to bring it back in on one condition. And that was me going into the cinemas, Parramatta, and talking to the audience and pleading with them that they don't cause trouble. While you had security guards at the front of the door and police officers.
Wow. So they concentrated as much as they possibly, and went out of their way and missed the whole point of the movie. I'll tell you right now, I'll tell you what I saw in the movie. I saw myself. You were me in the 90s. You're in love with an Aussie chick. You got your father in the movie had passed away. You got your mum trying to look after you. You got your brother on the wrong side of heading down on the wrong side of the road, and you're trying to put your past behind you, trying to love your mum, trying to be respectful to your customs and your traditions, but trying to keeping your brother. And I'm just sitting there and go, that's my life.
Well, that was the idea. The idea was, I wanted it to be real, and I wanted people to feel it, and I wanted people to relate to it, and you know, because it is your life. It's a lot of other people's lives. Yeah. I've had white Australians tell me, mate, that's my life. I dated an ethnic. That's literally what happened. Yeah. You know, all the conversations we had. You know, and for me, as much as this film deals with racism, and it deals with love story that's, you know, that are hard, because, you know, you come from different cultures. That's the reality. Yeah. You know, if you love someone, you get through those though. You know, but I think for me, the biggest thing was, like, when you're doing films like this that bring up topics about, you know, racism and, you know, different cultured love, it's about bringing up the topic and talking about it. How do we go forward if we can't talk about things like that? Yeah. Because let's be honest, there's racism on both sides.
Absolutely.
And it's still there now.
Yeah.
People try to sweep it under the carpet. When I wrote The Combination, there's a Cronulla riots in it.
Yep.
I had, the script did not change because of the Cronulla riots. I had that in the film before the riots. Because I've been in, even now, sometimes I go into a room and I could feel people look at me like he has no right to be doing what he's doing. I can feel it. You know yourself. Yeah. When you go in, you can feel someone looks at you differently, or you can feel something is a bit off. Yeah. You know? But I love that. I thrive on that, because I'm not going away. I'm not going away. You know, but you know, it is what it is. If people can't have a topic about something that's real, and you're trying to sweep it under the carpet, how do you move forward? You know, not only as a person, but as a nation, as whatever you want, as even around the world. You know, this stuff is around the world, not just Australia.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
You know, I raise them on purpose. I raise topics on purpose. It's done purposely. That way you can have a conversation. You know, what's right, what's wrong. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with having a conversation with someone, as long as you can do it without having to get violent, you know, and aggressive. It's a conversation you have.
Why is it that us Lebos are seen as violent? I've never been able to, don't get me wrong, I've taken that perception of us and I've used it to my benefit without being violent. But why? Why? Is it because the war? I mean, but we are normally out, like the Lebanese Australians, we're welcoming, we're loving, we you know, okay, we're loud. Our parties are loud. Even when we're playing cards, we're loud.
And we sound aggressive, but it just sounds aggressive.
But why? Why are we portrayed? Is the same thing in, I mean, are you more likely to get a violent role in a massive movie than getting the placid thinker, the guy that gives great advice, you know? Obi-Wan Kenobi of the...
Look, I'd like to think that we're past that you know, maybe back in the days, yeah. I'd like to think these days, no, that they would actually cast me for my ability, not for what they think I stand for. Look, and to answer your question about why people think we are violent, there is a lot of Lebanese out there that aren't great people, like any other nationality.
Absolutely.
And this is the thing. People go, oh, but yeah, there's so much, they're all troublemakers, they all do this. There's that, and they're probably what, 5%? If that, that do that. because there's some sort of hatred or some sort of racism in somebody, right? They will attack that. You know, it's like when they attack Catholics. There's priests out there that have done the wrong thing, mate, and they should be hung for it. I'm not defending them, okay? But they will attack all the Catholics for what the priest did. Wait a moment. You can't put everybody, you know, it's like me saying to a white guy, mate, yeah, you're a convict, you just came and killed all the Aboriginals. Put you all under that tree. But it's not.
Yeah.
You know? And I think when people attack a race or attack anyone, not just Lebanese, if I was to attack a white person for their heritage, then there's racism in me, man. Or there's some sort of hate, there's something there that's triggering it. What's triggering me to do that? When I know I've met other, you know, so if I'm looking in now, I've met Lebanese people that are unbelievable, and 99% unbelievable. You know, same with the Greeks and the Italians. I've met 99% of same with the Aussies, the white Aussies. I've met more greater people than I have, you would have as well.
Yep.
So you can't say to me, oh, this racist, they're all bad, because most of them are good. But if you don't like a race, you're going to say, oh, they're all like that. And that's the racism, my friend, or the hatred that people don't want to admit.
I got a feeling we're going to head back down that road through education. We're going to head back down to. I'm against. Like, growing up born in the 70s, grew up through the 70s and the 80s. I went to a school that had Greeks, Italians, Lebanese. It was just mixed. Okay. I even had Muslim friends. Because my village in Lebanon is half Christian, half Muslim. Now I see a lot of for example, just Maronite schools, and just Sunni schools and Shiite schools, and hold on a minute, why are we just putting our kids into just Christian schools for boys? And not Christian across the board, like you've got, you know, De La Salle, you've got Casimir, we're talking about Maronite schools, we're talking about Roman Orthodox schools, you're talking about Muslim schools. I'm going, no, Australia's supposed to mingle. That's not how we grew up here. You went to school, you had Muhammad, you had Ali, you had Singh, you had An, you had that, you had...
Yeah. Yeah, you're 100% right. We don't. That's the biggest problem.
You had Con, you had Spiro, you had Giovanni, you had.
I was having this conversation the other day.
Yeah.
That when you went to I went to a public school. So when I went, you had all these nationalities, and you became friends of all of them, and you understood them, and you respected them because you understood them.
Yeah.
When a lot of people go to only Lebanese school, only whatever Chinese school, whatever, and they don't mix. They mix with their own people, and their mentality becomes kind of one way because there's not a mix. Now, speaking from me, my kids go to a Catholic school.
Yep.
And the reason they go to Catholic school isn't so much because it's a Catholic school or you know it's a way better education. For me, the thing is, I look at public schools and look at their dress code.
Yep.
There's no dress code. I look at the way they rock up with their hair and all that kind of stuff. They look like they just come out of bed going to school. For me, it's all about appearance. Like my son has to go to school, he has to wear nearly a suit, mate. He's got to wear a tie, he's got to do his hair, he's got to cut his nails. If he goes to school not looking what he's supposed to be to their regulations,
demerit.
He's sent back home for demerit. Now, when you go into the real world, you get a job. They might give you a uniform, whatever. That's how you got to be. You got to. How do you present yourself? When we went to public school, we had a school uniform.
Yeah, we did.
The teachers were a lot stricter in public. Well, now if the teacher screams at a kid, the teacher's got to go and say the principal. So, not just the Catholic schools, the Islamic schools, the Catholic schools, the private schools, bring back that. How can I say this? They're tough on the kids.
Yeah.
The respect. You know, I think public schools, especially in this area where I live, have lost that. You know, and I think life for me, when I raise my kids, it's about I want them to be the best they can be, but I want them to also be respectful and humble.
Yeah, I mean, my son's the same. That my kids go to work too.
And I'm not saying, look, I'm not saying they can't be done in a public school, because there's a lot of parenting that goes on with all that. Yeah. But
at the end of the day, it's up to the parents to raise the kids.
It's about how do you push your kid in that right direction. Yeah.
Well, that's why I asked that question. I know it was off topic, and we're talking about something.
To me, that's what it's all about. I mean,
is there a movie that you will? Have you got some idea that you might implement a movie along those lines, showing the different cultures when it comes to education, raising kids down the like what happens to kids that sort of are not that parents don't, because at the end of the day, the parents are the first and last point of contact to raising a child. We can't blame the teachers. Have you ever thought about addressing that, like you've addressed so many topics through your movies?
Look, I would. It's got to come to me. Look, it's got to me. Something's got to come to me. It's got to like a bulb go off and go, okay, because it's all right to address a topic, but overall you're telling a story. Yeah, it's entertainment. Yeah. How do you then tell nearly 2 hours of film about a topic like that? And where does the characters go? How do they go? And I think talking about parenting, it's just not the schools and parenting. It's social media. Yeah. Now these days, kids are on their laptop all the time. So there's so much a parent or a school can be able to hold onto or grasp on a kid. What a kid does on his laptop, if you're not watching him 24/7, you don't know. True. So there's a lot of change.
So tell me, where'd the idea come from? An or a retired SAS soldier, makes a mistake, ends up in jail and becomes a convict after representing Australia and proud of the beret and the emblem, and where'd that idea come from?
Well, the idea of someone making a mistake, I've had a few friends that have done that and have done time for a mistake that was out of their hands. So that idea popped from there. And then the idea of me putting on an SAS soldier that's a highly decorated Australian uniform. I can't remember, I don't think I've ever seen a film, me personally, there might be out there, but I haven't seen a film where an Australian ethnic gets to play those kind of roles. And I wanted to show that, doesn't matter what ethnicity you are, you can be a hero. You can be in a situation where you're the main drive of a story, because in America they do it well, we don't here. We're trying to, we're moving in that direction, but I don't think it's quite there yet. And to me, when I meet filmmakers that I've inspired, especially if they're ethnics, if I've inspired them, and there's a few that I have and they've gone on to do really well, it makes me proud, man, because I didn't have, no one helped me.
Can you make us an Aussie Top Gun movie?
Can you give me the money? Give me the money and I will. It's all about the money.
I'd love to see a Lebanese pilot up there. You're gonna boostek, what are you doing? Come over here, bro.
Josh! No, but like for me, I'd love to have bigger budgets. Yeah. Look, the budgets I make my films on, honestly, like, they're not huge. I spend all the money into production. So,
But let's not take it away. You're actually putting money into people's pockets. You're creating a business.
Of course
you need lighting, audio, editing. These are
100%,
makeup.
100%. You've got to pay them, but for me too, like, I also enjoy finding new talent. Every film I've ever done, there's always a few actors in there that are aspiring actors that haven't had the opportunity to be able to perform or to show what they can do. Again, it comes back to, I didn't have anyone to do that for me. Yeah. So if I can help people that I think have the ability and have the drive, then why not? I remember I was at this I was invited to be a judge at this acting. They were performing on stage, and I was one of the judges. And I remember having a chat with a well-known, I'm not going to say his name, he's a well-known Australian actor. Yeah. And then we were talking about actors, that he's under the impression that, mate, yeah, an actor has to be someone that's done a lot of work, and he has to be, you know, well known. But I'm like, so that guy that you're talking about that's done a lot of work, what did he do before he started doing all this work? He was a talent looking for work. So how can you not find someone out there that's trying to get in the industry that hasn't been given a chance that could be as good or even better? You know? And then we actually got into a bit of a tiff, and then I started bringing up points to him. Started dropping names of actors that I've found on the streets that are doing really well now, like really well. Yeah. You know, and he didn't know what to say. But this is this is a problem that you face. A lot of filmmakers don't have the balls to go out and find new talent. They keep the same actors. Look, I'm not saying that, you know, you don't use experienced actors, but you can throw in an extra 1 or 2 actors that are out there trying to get work that are good.
George, is it because they're trying to make sure that they get a return on their investment?
Well, the problem is, this is the problem. It's hard because when they go in to get, it's not about return. In film, nothing's guaranteed. I don't give a shit who you got. I don't give a shit if you got a huge actor. If you got Russell Crowe,
yeah,
right? If he's the lead, and he's a phenomenal actor, right? If he's the lead, it doesn't guarantee your movie's going to do well. You know, there's no problem with getting your main lead or your leads to be really good names, but then you've got other little roles where you can try to find a new talent. You know, yeah. I don't go in there and get a new one and say, okay, you're going to play this lead and put that pressure on them. That's a lot of pressure for an actor that's never done, you know, film. It's a lot of pressure, but you can find roles that can show what they can do.
Yeah.
You know, like if you watch TV, you watch, you know, like Alfred Hitchcock, they keep bringing back all these shows, same actors. They recycle the same actors. Yeah. It's like, mate, I just seen you in this other show, you know.
Aren't you dead?
But you know what I mean?
Didn't you die?
Like, surely,
yeah.
You know, and this is the thing, they tick all these boxes, and it's all talk. Like they talk about diversity. Hello? Combination, mate. I shot that in 2008, diversity, have a look at my film, have a look at my crew. Now, we're in 2022, they talk about diversity.
Yeah.
12 years later, diversity. Hi, mate. Yeah, come see me.
Yeah, but you're real. That's virtue signalling. Yeah. That's just to make them feel good. Look at us. Look what we're doing.
And like I said, last thing before, if you're going to tick boxes, if I'm sitting here going to go, we need an Arab for this role. Yep, we'll get him. We need a female here. We'll get her. We need an Aboriginal. We'll tick that. That's the racist. You're ticking up boxes. You're racist, mate. When I go out, if I'm looking for actors and film crew, that doesn't come into my mind. I'm like, yeah, you're going to do it. Yep, I've got you. And if next time I do a film, come on my set.
I'd love to.
You'll have, mate, black, white, Greek, Italian, Chinese, Lebanese, mate, from the gay community. I've got it all. It doesn't bother me. But I'm not ticking boxes. It happens naturally.
Have you made the adjustment on your paperwork?
I don't do that paperwork.
Him, her, she, her.
No, I'll let them do that. Everyone to themselves. That's everyone to themselves, you know?
I'm just
yeah.
You know?
But like,
who we hear?
Yeah, this is the thing. They're ticking off boxes. Like,
yeah.
Come on. You know, like, and now I actually feel sorry now for the you know, the white Anglo-Australian actors, because now they're losing work because, yeah, you're a better actor, but sorry, we have to go with this because we've got to tick off a box.
Yeah.
It's not right. Any way you look at it, you know, it's not right. Then you go, oh, but for the white people, you know, where I really don't like is when they get a guy that's playing, let's say, an Italian. He's playing Italian.
Yeah.
Then they get a white dude to play him.
Yeah.
There's plenty of Italian actors out here, mate. Find an Italian actor to play it. Now that's when I think, where are they really going with this? Yeah. And it's hard. I get it. It's hard in film because when you sell a film, they prefer a name. Yeah. That's the reality. They prefer a name, a big name.
I can relate to that because, you know,
I'm not that's the reality, and I get that. Yeah. I get that. You know, but trying to get a big name as well isn't as easy as everyone thinks it is. You know, it's not as easy. There's a lot of boxes that have got to be ticked to get on board, and you know, to go get money. If I want to go get money to make a film, I've got to get a distribution company that's going to distribute my movie.
Yep.
Attach a cast. You know. And then you go to them, and then they'll look at it, and then yep, they might give you money, they might not give you money. You know, so it's anyone that can make film I take my hat off to them because it's hard. It's one of the hardest industries to be in. And I think the industry's changing for the better. I do. I think now if you look at TVs, you're seeing, you know, more. It's more diverse. It's
Would
a
you
good
want
thing.
your kids in it, or would you push them away?
Nah, I wouldn't want kids in it. It's hard work. I know how much work I've put in, Romeo. I've put in a lot of work, mate. You know, the combination took me 8 years to make, man. You know, a lot of people promised me, and I just stuck. I'm stubborn.
Yeah.
I'm like, mate, if you tell me I can't do it, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
And so I get a lot of messages and stuff from aspiring actors, you know, and I always reply to everybody because I wish I had that, you know, that system in my days. And I tell them, I said, if you love it, you got to get into it, but you got to have thick skin, because not everyone's going to love you.
Yeah.
You have people that will love you. You have people that will bag you. Mate, I've had Lebanese people that bag my films. They bag me. You know, I remember I had one girl. She was, after watching the combination, she sent me this essay. She was really disappointed. She goes, oh, you had a chance to make the Lebanese people really look great, and you've gone out and made us look like we're bad people because of the drugs and the gangs. But that's reality. I'm not going to go out and try to make something that my people are great people. You know, because we've got some flaws. Every nationality has flaws. That's the reality. And she was telling me how, you know, she's a doctor. I said, well, that's fantastic. I said, you don't need me to guide you because you're doing great. I said, you should be out there trying to guide. You know? So this film isn't for people like this, for people that are lost, that make wrong choices. That's what the movie was when I made it. It's for so that people can make the right choice. You know, because in life, it's about choices. Everything we do is about choices.
But do you think that there are some people out there that combination remind them of something they do not want to be reminded of? Like, I'll tell you, I grew up in Dulwich. Growing up in Dulwich and Marrickville back in the 80s, you had to be two things: a good fighter and a good comeback artist.
Yeah.
You had those two, you were all right. Now, you didn't win all fights, and you lost a lot
But
of
you
them.
got on with life.
But you got on.
Yeah.
When we played footy in the park, we did a syringe
Yeah.
walk.
Make sure those
All the
friends are right,
boys, because we're going to tackle each other. So we do. Now, Dulwich and Marrickville are talking like $3-4 million homes. Everybody's renting. It's the new, you know.
Yeah.
Hold on. If I go and make a movie to tell you what Dulwich and Marrickville was like back in the 70s and 80s, you'd get offended because you don't want to be reminded what it was. But that's the reality.
But this is the problem. This is the problem. I think we need to be reminded. It's like when, you know, England came to Australia and they did what they did to the indigenous people.
Yeah.
Very sad, very tragic, very bad, right? But if we erase that, how do we learn
Not to do it again.
That's exactly right. How do we not? You know, erasing something isn't always good. You know, things like Hitler. If we erase that, then this new generation knows nothing about that. Yeah. There's somebody that comes out and does what he did. It's educational. It should be used as educational. You know, every country in the world has got something they're not proud of.
Yeah, that's right.
But the smart ones use it as an education. You know, you can't erase everything. I don't want to. I grew up, you know, in a tough childhood. I don't want to erase that because that's made me who I am.
Yeah.
Now, all the struggles I went through or seen my dad go through has made me who I am today.
Sometimes.
Now, so when people say to me, "Oh, about money," I didn't come from a lot of money, mate. So I didn't give a shit about money. I've lived without money. You know?
Yeah.
Money isn't everything. Like my dad grew up with 7 kids. I remember my mum used to go. I swear, she used to go shop for us in a second-hand shop, mate. Yeah. You know, we used to have to share shoes sometimes with my brother. You know, my dad was renting. You know, we had to like slowly buy furniture.
There is one word that's missing, that's been eradicated. Hand-me-downs.
Yeah.
Growing up, it was. My older cousin had a St. George jersey.
Yeah.
My mum couldn't afford $80, $90 to go buy a jersey. Here's your cousin's jersey, that's good enough. Yeah, great, I was over the moon. I wasn't embarrassed that I took my older cousin because he got, you know, he's gone and got another one. Now, you tell your son, here, you wear your brother's shoes. No way, I'm not. What's wrong with them then?
Mate, it's like, remember when we were young?
Yeah.
My mum used to make me a sandwich, hot chips, tomato sauce.
The best!
Now if I give it to my kids goes, where's the chicken? Where's the meat? That's what I got. So mate, You see what you got. You know, but I think this is the thing. I think when going back to what we're talking about, things that happen in our past make us who we are today, and which made me a better person. You know, I think if we try to erase, I don't want to erase my past, and I don't think anyone should be trying to erase anything that's happened in the past. You learn from it and you move forward.
I hope so. Sometimes it feels as though they use the past to continue the hatred towards the future. Look what they did to us back then. We shouldn't love them.
But that comes back to what we were talking about before, racism and hatred and all that stuff. And unfortunately, you're going to have that. There's going to always be those little elements, you know? There's always going to be those little elements, you know? Like, you're not going to win. I know like a lot of people, like, a lot of white people, when I did the combination, right? They used to like send me messages. They hated my film. They hated the combination. Why do you hate it? Because I'm bringing out stuff you don't really want to talk about, that you don't feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
You're not comfortable with that. But you're happy to laugh at fat pizza, mate, eh? That's good, eh? That's funny. But now let's talk about some real subjects here. Let's bring out the real subjects. Let's talk about them. Let's have a chat. And I swear to you, most of those people that used to send me these hate mails now are my friends. Because I've said, let's have a chat. Let's talk about it. You know, you've never lived in my shoes. I haven't lived in your shoes. But I'm telling you how it was in my shoes. You know, I grew up in Guildford. I used to go to school. I used to get belted. Ethnics were like the minority. I used to get scared of coming to the, you know, if I used to go from the back, if I used to see all the kids, I used to go around so they don't see me, so they don't call me a wog and do that. I went through that. You probably didn't go through that, mate. But I'm telling you what I went through. This is what I went through.
Yeah.
You know, I was sitting there. I remember when I watched The Wog Boy when he sits with the salami and all that.
Yeah.
Me. When I used to have my Lebanese salespeople used to laugh at me. Oh, what are you eating, mate? Bird seeds. Guess how much I pay for it now?
Yeah.
Okay, how much I pay for it now?
Up here.
All the bird seeds used to laugh at me, mate. You know, or hummus.
Yeah.
They're paying like, mate, $5-6 a tub.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, you know.
They're selling it at my kids' school in the canteen now. My mum used to make a shway zatar, labne, khiora. Roll it up, here, sit there. But luckily, look, the Greek will. Now my kids telling me, you know how much they're selling manushi at my kids' school? It's manushi. It's a manushi, man. It's just a freaking $7.
We're in the wrong business, mate. No, about filmmaking. I'm going this business. No, but you know what? Look, nothing talking about. I've also got to give, for me personally, I've also got to give a shout out to like David Field. I don't know if you know who David Field is. He directed the combination. So I met David when I was when I wrote the combination, and then I went to him. He was the one that me and him worked on this thing, right? He's probably one of the greatest humans I've ever met. I had a chip on my shoulder, you know, coming from Western Sydney. I remember I was sitting in a restaurant. I had to see everyone that came in, and see someone just from behind, all that kind of stuff, right? And he used to always say to me, "Why do you have a chip on your shoulder?" So he kind of really mellowed me down, right? And he taught me a lot, like, you know, Aboriginal, Indigenous. I didn't know any, and through film, through Dave, I met so many. I became really good friends with so many, right? I used to say the word Abo. Now I never knew Abo was actually offensive. I didn't. Like, I never knew until I remember one day, Tony Ryan, God rest his soul, the guy from the combination that played the trainer. Yeah. You know, he said to me, "George, you can't say that, mate." I said, "What do you mean I can't say that? It's short for Aboriginal." That's what I thought it was me. He goes, "No." And he explained to me. So I never said it again. It's probably the first time I've ever said it for a long, long time, right? Yeah, now I pull up people when they say that, you know. But the funny thing is, Tony goes, "Well, so if I called you a wog." Call me a wog, so what? I've been called that my whole life, you know? But I never understood that. And that's what comes back to when you're talking about the schools never mixed. It's education. If you mingle, you understand, you learn, you respect. Yeah. And I think this is the problem we have in this country still now. Yeah. Is like you said, everyone just sticks to their own kind of thing. Yeah. You know, and you're not really educating yourself about the others. You're not under, you know, like you're gonna say, "Oh, they're bad people." But how do you know? Like, I got a friend of mine I went to school with. He lives in Penrith. One day I'm talking to him, and he goes to me, "Oh, you know, I hate Muslims." Just say a little bit of that. I said, "Why, man?" And he goes, "Oh, I had this one guy who did me over." I said, "How many Muslim friends do you have?" "So how many Muslim friends do you have?" He goes to me, oh, I don't know any. I said, then how can you hate if you don't know any, mate? You know, this is the thing. This is the point. And hate's a strong word, but if you don't know, if you don't go there and meet and mingle, when me and you went to school, we mingled.
Yeah.
So we understand. Like, I can sit with anybody. I understand. I respect. I've had friends of all nationalities. So I understand it. I've mingled. You know.
That's why I like your movies, because you portray that in your films. There's different backgrounds, different cultures. The storyline is trying to force these things to gel together. Whether you like it or not, I'm going to make this gel. You know, the biggest topic I can talk about is this, and I'll tell you why I'm telling you, is the fact between an ethnic boy and an Anglo-Saxon white girl, you know, Aussie chick. We're not supposed to be together.
Yeah.
You know, and growing up, I used to have a lot of my mates saying to me, oh, you know, we used to go to Cronulla. And mind you, we used to go to Cronulla, we used to go out. And I remember the first time I see this blonde-haired, you know, Aussie girl. I go to approach her, my mate goes, you're wasting your time. I said, why? He goes, because they're not interested in us. They like the surfies. I said, but how do you know she's into surfies? The worst thing she can do is tell me, go away.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Right? That's the worst thing you can do. And all I do is turn around and walk away. I had a mate of mine said to me, Romeo, when you go out, you ask 10 girls for their number and you get one number, you're done good.
That's right, 100%.
That's the way.
That was my mentality.
Yeah. So that girl, I walked up and we started talking. And going, you know what she told me? I asked her, I said, why did you so quickly turn around and like, you know, hey, how you going? And you didn't push me off. She goes, I like you wog boys. I said, what do you mean? She goes, when you talk to us, you talk to us. If I call you and tell you come over, let's go somewhere, you come over. And I'm not being racist, this is her, not me. Yeah. I'll never forget this chick. She goes, I date an Aussie guy. I ring him up, come around, let's do something. I'm with the boys at the pub. You Lebos will come, or you Greeks, or you wog boys will come. You like, I tell you, let's go for dinner. Yeah, I'm in, let's go. Yeah. I love that. She goes, I love that about you. And I looked at her like, you know, I told my mate, he goes, you're full of shit. I said, all right, ask her. We're going out this weekend, ask her. And he did, and she told him the same thing. But how do you know unless you try?
100%. And look, not everybody is the same. You know, everyone's different. And this is my father's always said to me, yeah, look at your hand, your fingers aren't all the same, mate. You know, he has to say, not everybody is the same. You can't put everybody under one umbrella. Everyone, you know, thinks differently, does everything differently. So, you know, but, you know, going back to when you're saying like stuff like that, look, combination, all that stuff, that's real. I had Asian friend. So when I put in the character, they're real names of characters of friends that I went to school with or I knew. Yeah. They're not just names I made up. They're names that they exist. They're friends of mine. You know? It's the same talking about the white girl. Same when I did the combination redemption. When I was doing it, I thought, okay, he dated the white chick in part one, it was so hard. But also what's interesting, imagine he dates a chick from the same ethnicity, but a different religion.
Yeah.
It's tricky as hell as well. You know, but again, you know, it's about bringing topic to things people don't want to really talk about. It happens a lot. You know, these days, it's happening a lot, you know. Some people will accept it, I'll tell you now, because I've spoken to a lot of people, a lot of fans. Some people will accept it, some won't. Some are in denial about it. Oh, that doesn't happen. Oh, it does happen, mate. I can take you out a few places I can show you. Don't tell me it doesn't happen, you know. So, I think when you watch my films, you gotta have an open mind. That's what it comes down. If you don't have an open mind, then you are gonna sit there and judge everything just the way you think it is. Just when you think of something, doesn't mean it's right.
Yeah.
Everyone, you know what I mean? It's everything's opinionated. Yeah. There's no right and wrong.
So with the next film, this one you've just finished, don't spoil, there's no spoiler.
Retreat, it's called Retreat, I can give you the name, yeah.
What life experience made you, that you get that?
This was something I had to do. You know, I told you earlier I'm a big Stallone fan. When I got into the game, I wanted to be an action star.
Are you Rambo's son?
I'm Rambo's brother. I'm old, too old to be his son, man.
What? How old's Rambo now?
No,
70s?
He's in his 70s, yeah, he's 70s. But no, I've always wanted to do an action film. But another thing that drove me is I also like to make films that haven't been made in this country. No one's attempted them. The Combination was one that no one had made, which really, that's what drove me for that. And then I thought about Retreat. I thought, what Australian filmmaker? Now, I'm not talking about an American film filmed in Australia. I'm talking about Australian film maker making an Australian film in the Australian bush with action, hand to hand, guns. No one. All I kept thinking about was Mad Max and those kind of films. I thought, there's an opportunity for me to go out and be the first to bring this genre, you know, in an Australian film. I got offered money to actually do the dialect in American and get a sale overseas in America for it before I started shooting. I turned it down because I said, no, it's got to be an Australian film. You know, this goes back to me being Australian, right? You know, so it's going to be interesting, but I think it's a cracker of a film.
Is it finished or?
It'll be finished in about, I reckon 5-6 weeks will be done, complete. It's different. It's different than all the other films I've made, but I think entertainment-wise, there's a lot of entertainment in it. It's there's a lot of, you know, family elements. You know, my films always have those family elements.
Found any new actors?
Yes, I have. There's a girl that plays my daughter in it. She's phenomenal.
Yeah.
She's, you know, we kind of took it under and helped her out, you know, make sure she felt really comfortable. But I think she has a future. But how far she goes is up to her.
Yeah.
You know, but when you see the film, you'll see she's unbelievable, mate. She's you know, there's a couple of other new people in it that I've got that are really, really good. But for me, this girl, because what happened when I spoke to agents, they sent me all these auditions of these really experienced actors. And then I think her audition came through by accident. She didn't audition for the role. She was doing some other gig. And I'm watching this girl and I'm thinking, wow. And with me, when I look at an actor, I'm different to a lot of other directors. So I don't look at an overall great performance. I don't go there and go, oh my God, how good was that performance? I look for little moments in an actor. So moments that I think, yes. My job as a director is to bring out the best. But if I see those moments, and she had those moments, so when I said to the agent, I said, oh, I really like this girl, you know. She goes, oh, but there's this other girl. She said, no, I want this girl. No other girl. That's the girl I want, okay? So I ended up meeting her, and she's a great girl. And yeah, man, and I think it's all about, for me, it's all about moments. Because sometimes auditions, like I'm a bad auditioner. When you put me into audition, I'm bad. I don't like auditioning. I hate it.
Nerves kick in.
Not about nerves. I don't know. It's hard. I work off another actor. My energy works when I'm on set, and I work off another actor. He works off me. It's about energy for me. But when you go into an audition, you got someone standing behind the camera just spitting out lines. You're trying to give a performance, and it turns me off. So it makes it very hard for me to get in those moments. I'll give you a perfect example. When I did the Combination Redemption, I did this scene with an actor called Rahel Rahman, right? You know, the factory scene when I go up and, you know, he's got the drug money and all that. And then I remember we did the scene, the camera was on him, and this boy can act, right? He's really, really good. Okay, he's just been nominated he's just won the Heath Ledger scholarship. Oh, wow. There's another guy we found that was looking for an opportunity, right? He did this role and he just, I was on awe of him, man. I'm looking at this guy, and I'm performing with him. I'm going, oh, this kid really can bring it. Wow, you know? I was really proud of him because, you know, he was in part one and we kind of found him. I was like, my God, he's come a long way. So I've gone back and David, for the director, there's going, what do you think? I said, that little prick, he brought it. I'm gonna have to lift my game. So then when the camera came back at me, I had to lift my game, you know, and that's what I'm talking about, you know, working of the energy of other actors. So when I go in and I'm auditioning for a film, I don't look for an overall performance because I know sometimes a person going in might be like me. Yeah. But I look for moments, you know, that he nails certain moments, and that's all I need to see. You know, same when I did Convict, right? You know, I had an actor called Frank Violi, the guy that plays Williams.
Yep.
He came out and he did an audition for me. It wasn't a great audition, but he had moments. And I remember I was sitting there with my producer, and we had a couple of other guys that did probably, in fairness, probably did better auditions. And they're going, oh yeah, they're them two. I said, no, I want him. I know, but these guys were, I want him. Oh, but his performance was good. I said, I know, but I've seen moments in him. He's the one. He's the one I want. When we did the film, he's unbelievable in the film. It's phenomenal in the film. So this is the thing you look for. And then sometimes you find an actor that's really talented. He was in Convict. He's a young boy, and I think he's a really good actor. But he got into the game. He got an agent, and he just found it hard getting auditions, and he quit, which is a shame.
I was just going to ask you that question without mentioning names.
Yeah.
Has anybody disappointed you? You saw something, but they just didn't follow it through. They just gave up and walked away.
Yeah, I've had a few. I've had a few that I've probably made the wrong call. You know, like you see something in them, and then you give them an opportunity, and they don't deliver. And there's many reasons that happens. When you're on a film set, and you're, especially as an actor, you've got to be focused. You can't be sitting there on your phone talking to your girlfriend or your wife.
Yep.
You've got to be focused, and all your energy's got to be put into that character. If you sway a bit, and then all of a sudden you've got a really emotional moment or a real moment that's important, you know, and you can't go there, then you kill yourself. You're killing yourself. So for me, it's all about when I did Convict, I did a lot of studying in regards to SAS soldier, how they walked, how they talked, how they trained, mentally how they were. So I prepared really hard mentally and physically. I trained hard as well for that role. I lost like 13 kilos in 5.5 weeks, and I was training like 6 days a week. But the mental side of things was, I said to my wife, I said, there's going to be 6 to 7 weeks when I'm Ray. I'm not George. So it means I'm going to be in a different headspace, and I need you to leave me alone. And I remember a few times, there was one time I remember really, I did this scene, I just come back, and it was a scene where I was locked up in the prison and in isolation. I don't know if you remember that scene.
Yep.
When I shot that scene, I told them to lock me up for 45 minutes, close up everything and leave me. And that's what they did. I was in there for 45 minutes, and then once I was ready, I said, okay, let's shoot it. You know, because when they close it, it's really dark, it's isolation. When I got home, and the next day I had another really emotional scene. I stayed in that mental state. And I remember I was at the fridge and my wife said, and I snapped at her without knowing. Fuck! Turn her out. And then she actually jumped back. And then I'm kind of like, oh shit, sorry. You know,
yeah.
I'm in character. I said, you know, so I kind of, sometimes even then I sleep in my own room and I sleep next door. I just stay in character. Because the minute you break character, sometimes you find it hard to get back into it. And that's the thing with actors on set when you go back to the question you're asking. If you're acting and you're not 100% committed, you'll get found out.
Do you I just came up with a question now because of what you just said. You find a lot of actors falling in love with each other, and then once the movie is over, the relationship is finished. Now, I'm not saying anything about you, George, but I'm saying that, do you reckon that's it? Because they're so into, you know, Winona Ryder and what's his name from Matrix, the actor Keanu Reeves, massive. Then that movie that they made together ended, and they broke up. And then you see all these other actors, and I used to say to myself, I mean, why?
I can tell you why.
1 minute you're in love, next minute you can't stand each other. What's going on?
I'll tell you why. Combination. I'm going to go back to the combination.
Yeah.
Me and Claire Bowen.
Yeah.
We played the love. She was my love interest.
Yeah.
I remember David Phil sitting us both down together, and I was married at the time too.
Yeah.
And Dave said to me, I want you to do everything together on set. Hold hands, sits on your lap. eat together, feed each other, do what the hell you want, but you don't sleep with each other.
Okay.
And I said to him, why? He goes, because I want the chemistry. I want you to both want each other, but it's not going to happen. Wanting each other is one thing, the camera will pick up, but you don't do it. Because once you do it, we know. Sorry, it's just kidding, sorry, but we once you do it, we know it's done. And I was married, you were never going to go there anyway, but the way he explained it kind of made really sense. So what we did for the next few weeks, everything. She'll sit on my lap, hold my hand, put our hands around each other, warm each other up, hugging each other, and professionally. And, and that's how we did it. We did it for five weeks. And it worked because we kind of got really comfortable with each other.
Yeah.
But once the film stopped and you snap out, you go your own way. You're still really good friends.
Yeah.
But I go back to my wife, I go back to my life, I go back to being George.
Yeah.
I'm no longer John, I'm George now. And you've got to be able to separate that. Good actors do that. That's part of the game. Look, when you kiss someone, you're kissing someone.
Have you got a jumper in the car? Because it's getting cold.
Okay. No, I'm here, look at the hair, man.
Whoa!
But I think that's the thing. Kissing someone, it's all intimate. It's intimate stuff, so you've really got to respect the boundaries. You've got to understand the boundaries, but you've got to also try to find some common ground where you can kind of really buy into that you're really into this person, and find something that's really good about them that attracts you to them. Because if you're attracted to someone, the camera will see it. And I think that's the key.
Wow, man, I find it.
It's tough. Look, for me, I mean, you go in there and try to do a sex scene.
I'm telling you right now, if I was an actor,
look, it's tough.
I would not. I'd put it in the script. I don't kiss. I don't have sex. I don't have no intimate relationships with anyone because I don't need my wife to.
My wife's pretty cool, mate. Look, at first she wasn't. She didn't understand it, but after we had a chat, it comes back to trust. You got to trust the person. It's just. I mean, for me, imagine this. When I worked on Blackrock, I had to go. There was one scene where I had to run into the beach at 5 o'clock in the morning. Right. Then I had to do a rape scene. And imagine 200 people behind the camera, they get out to see your butt and your whole privates. Because what happened usually in film, they make up this little thing where it's gesturing nude, you can't see it. I wasn't supposed to be in the rape scene, so I didn't bother with all that. I thought, director had a change of heart. No, you're doing it, but I don't want to do it. No, you have to do it, but I don't want to do it. No, you got to do it, George. It's part of the acting. So I'm on top of this woman, this girl, and I'm butt naked. No covering, nothing. Welcome to the film game, George.
Wow.
So when I do other films now, like in Convict, I'm walking around butt naked. It's easy, because I've done it. I've done it in front of 200 people. you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's still nerve-wracking, especially when I'm doing something with a female. I feel for her more, because you're kind of trying to cover her up, because it's not comfortable,
Have you ever? Let's walk a bit. We'll keep George. George's got here. Take my jumper.
No, I swear I'm not cold. I'm not cold. I'm not cold. I swear to God, I'm not cold. If I'm cold, I'll tell you.
You sure?
Yeah.
Because your lips are turning blue.
Because you're sexy.
Have you ever, like in the industry, who's the female actress that's just over the top? It's like, oh my God, like that you've worked with,
like
and
fantastic actor.
Yeah, like you just go, man. I wish I could work with this chick every single time.
I've got to say, man, the movie I just made, Maya Stain.
Yeah.
She's in my new film. She's a phenomenal actor. She's great to work with. She's a great person. I've worked with some great actors. I mean, as a female actor, I probably have to say Maya. Maya's like really, and people will see it. She's unbelievable. She's like, she blew me away. When I was directing her, I'm watching her, and I'm just, sometimes I'm sitting there behind the thing and I'm about to tear up.
Yeah.
So she's really, really good, mate. She's been in the game for a long time. But I can't wait for people to see her. She's actually really good in the film as well.
When's the release date?
I don't know exactly. I don't really know exactly the release date because the film's finished. It'll be finished in 5 weeks.
Yep. But
then I'm going to the States. I'm going to LA in November.
Yeah.
Hoping to try to find an agent and get a sale.
Okay. Yeah.
And then once I get a sale, I'll have an idea. Okay. Now we're thinking about going to platform instead of the movies, straight into like maybe your Netflixes, your Stan, a platform like that.
Mate, I was going to tell you, while you're on that topic, a lot of actors now are Netflix actors. Big names. I've been watching a lot of stuff on Netflix, and it's like, you know, your Liam Neesons and all these, they're all Netflix. They're all now, not in Hoyts.
Because Netflix are paying big money for it.
Yeah.
And sometimes they get an actor like Adam Sandler, for example.
Yeah.
They'll sign him on a three film deal or 5 film deal.
Yeah.
And and he'll make films for him.
Yeah.
And plus, you know what? Look, with cinema, I think cinema is slowly getting to a point where it's only the big budget movies going in there.
Yeah.
Avengers, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
When you're talking about cinema, there's so much money that goes into promotions, into this, into that. So when you go into Netflix, the costs come down a fair bit.
Yeah.
So filmmakers have the potential to make more money. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So let's say they release a movie, for example, let's say Avengers. Yeah. Let's say the movie cost them 200 million. A lot of the times they spend nearly that money as all to promote it.
Yep.
It's big money. But with Netflix, it goes to Netflix, they're not spending that sort of money, you know?
Talking on Avengers and all these stuff. If you ever wanted to make a movie, George, like these Avengers stuff, who would your main superhero be, and what was his name be? What would you call him?
First pick one of the superheroes? Oh shit!
Have you ever thought about it?
It wouldn't be Wonder Woman, but no. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I've never thought about it, to be honest with you. I've always liked Superman and Batman.
Yep.
I think they've always been
classics.
Yeah. I've always liked them. But I don't know. To be honest with you, I'm over a superhero film.
Yeah.
I used to love them,
Yep.
but now they just everything's superhero. Everything's superhero. And I think I don't really classify them, to be honest with you, as really. To me, they're not like really films. You know, there's a lot of CGI. But when you talk about films, I love films like, look, your Godfather,
Yes.
Scarface, you know,
Casino.
Denzel Washington films. That's kind of movies. They're movies. They're driven. They're driven by actors. The film's driven by performance. Where Avengers, they're jumping around with CGI and everything, And I think doesn't attract me. So films like, those older films really is what I like. So to me, but that's where the money is. I mean, cinemas, everything's Avengers this and Avengers that. Spider-Man, Fast and the Furious 79. It doesn't stop.
I think we lost the track. We lost the plot.
And they're flying. They're flying now. Fast and Furious. They're flying. Like the last film, they were flying the bloody cars in the sky.
Yeah.
Like, and I used to love Fast and Furious.
Me too. The
first. Oh my god. So I think. I know the Martin Scorsese said it best. He doesn't think it's film. Doesn't think it's not film, and he's right.
It's not.
It's not right. It's to me, it's not. It's their big budget. They make. It's all about the money, mate. They make people watching this big. They've got a huge following, and they just milk the hell out of it.
Yeah. It's good to see that you're in the industry. You've made some great movies, but you're still a local boy. You're still here. You haven't left. I don't bag anyone out. Good luck to them, but Rebel Wilson is not the same Rebel that I remember from Fat Pizza.
Mate,
is it?
Look, for me, a few times I've come to move. I'm totally honest, mate. I don't move because of my parents.
Yeah.
I'm the eldest.
Yep.
So as you know, in our culture, mate, we look after our parents.
That's it.
We don't. So for me, my parents are a bit ill. Sometimes they've got some issues and stuff.
Yeah.
So I can't be too far. So even if I did want to move, I wouldn't move too far. My family's everything. For me, family's everything. I've tried to push my dad. Honestly, I said to my dad a few years ago, if you sell up, you move anywhere you want, we'll follow you.
Yeah.
He won't move out. And I don't blame him. He's in his 70s. He's comfortable. He knows everybody here. So,
My dad, God rest his soul, used to say to me, if I kick you out the front door, you crawl through the back window.
There you go, and it's sort of, and what's love about family, honestly?
Yeah, that's it.
You can have, end of the day, family's everything.
That's right.
So, well, that's for me. Here we go.
Welcome to Guildford.
Music to my ears, mate. Music to my ears.
The area.
Love it.
But yeah, I mean, that's. I think that's what they can't seem to understand about your movies. That And it offends some people and it upsets people, and as you said, you've got to stay open-minded to watch your films.
I don't go there to upset anyone. I just go there to be truthful to myself as a filmmaker. And, like I said, there's topics that people don't feel comfortable talking about. I do, I don't care. Because, it is what it is. You got to face it. You got to face it sooner or later.
Yeah, that's right.
So, to me, but I think this next one, they can just sit back and watch it without having to avoid it. Just entertainment, just enjoy.
Let us know, and me and Eddie will be there.
Yeah, no, I might do a screening for it, a cast and crew screening. I'll let you know. Come out and come and do a bit of recording if you want.
Well, definitely, I'd love to come out and next movie you've got, we'll come out and.
So I might be shooting something next year.
Yep.
I've got a couple of investors at the moment. I'm probably still after 1 or 2 investors. Once I finish, I'll try to have a couple of investors. If I get it, probably shoot another one next year.
Beautiful.
Which is filmed. We filmed down in the west. I think it'll be pretty cool. I think it's really good story about a few friends that grew up in Western Sydney and take different paths.
Beautiful.
So,
looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to this one, the
retreat.
retreat.
Yeah. I can't wait to finish it. To be honest with you, COVID's killed us.
Yeah.
I was shooting the film. Then
to stop.
I had to stop. There was one time I was shooting the film. I got hypothermia. I collapsed. On set, there's a scene. I was in a waterfall and we were shooting in winter. Yeah. So I came out of the waterfall and it was freezing. My body shut down. Then when COVID hit and they closed down Cumberland, I booked myself into a hotel to Parramatta, so I continued to film. Then a day later or 2 days later, they shut down Parramatta, so they shut us down. So we had to stop, waited a few months, then to go back to finish the film, shooting the film. Then it went into sound. And then my sound got COVID a couple of times. Yeah. Oh, it's been a nightmare, but now we're nearly there. I can see the finish line.
George, being a Lebanese boy yourself, can you give a message out to the Lebanese Australian boys that, what can they do? What do they have to do? What do they have to believe in? Can you give them a message?
Look, I think the biggest thing is, guys, you got to go after something you love. All right, find what you love, whatever it might be. If you love it, you go for it. Believe in yourself, because no one's going to believe in you. Okay, people are going to doubt you. People are going to say you can't do this, you can't do that. You can do anything you want if you put your mind to it. I always say there's 2 sorts of people, man. There's people that are going to say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. There's people who say that I will do this. I'm going to do this. They're the guys that says I'm going to never do anything. Their whole life, I'm going to do this, never do it. I'm going to do it. You got to be that guy or that girl. You go out, I'm going to do it. You chase your dream, and you give it all you got. And you stick to it, and I guarantee you'll get success.
Wonderful.
A legend.
God bless.
Romeo. God bless you.
Guys, George is a perfect example. You know what my YouTube channel is about. It's about overcoming difficulties, let's put it that way, about fulfilling dreams, concentrating on what Australia is about. We are a great nation made up of different nationalities, but we're all one people. Never let anyone tell you you can't do anything or this doesn't suit you. George has proved that. He was told that there aren't any roles for him because he looks ethnic. So what did he do? He made his own movies and he employed ethnics and Aussies and different nationalities and said to everyone, come, if you've got the talent, I've got a film for you. And that's what Australia's about. If you've got the talent and you love this country, you can have a go and don't let anyone tell you you can't. God bless you all. God bless Australia. Thank you, George.
Pleasure. Thank you. Bye, man.